By Cayman Insurance Center, specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services. And Kirk Market, experience a world of choice. And Automotive Art Cayman, your car, our passion.
And now, Radio Cayman presents The Buzz, an insightful and fresh take on a variety of issues that impact the local environment. This is where we address the topics that matter. Here's your host, Kathy Miller.
Good morning, Cayman. Welcome to The Buzz. It's a beautiful Tuesday, July 29th, and I'm your host, Kathy Miller. Now, I cannot believe that these are the final few days of July. Who is with me? Because this month absolutely flew by. I would say pretty much the last 2 months for sure have flown by. So what can we say? We're halfway through summer, and I guess school, I call it summer because for me, summer goes all the way to the end of August, if not maybe the first weekend of September. And some schools actually start midway through August. I'm so glad I did not grow up in this era where that's the thing because, I could not imagine going back to school mid-August. So for those of you school leavers and children and teachers, you only got about a couple weeks left to enjoy your summer. And the rest of us, we have about a good month to enjoy what's left of the summer. So get your vacations in, enjoy the time with the family, friends, loved ones, and just time for yourself, if anything at all. In the first 30 minutes of this morning's show, I am welcoming your thoughts. So give me a call if there's anything that you want to talk about. I'm mainly going to be talking about a recent procurement issue that has shined a less than favorable light on the Department of Tourism. But first, as you're heading into work this morning, this is a good time to remind you that while many of you are driving into work, to stay safe on the roads. And government is trying to help you do that through the second phase of their national road safety campaign called Smart versus Reckless Driving. The campaign promotes 4 key behaviors proven to reduce fatalities and serious injuries. Buckle up, do not speed, avoid mobile phone distractions while driving, and never drive while impaired by alcohol or drugs. Now, you would think of those 4 key messages that they're simple, they're pretty obvious, and they're things that we should know. They're things that we should definitely know already. And I think most of us do buckle up. I, for one, it doesn't matter if I'm going halfway down the block, I have to have a seatbelt on. Since childhood, that's been a thing of safety for me. So even with my friends that don't wear seatbelts and they're driving, I'm like, so you're not going to wear one? They're like, no. I'm like, okay, cool. I still put mine on no matter what. The influence is not going to shake me. Some of us do have a love for speed, but we have to be cognizant of other people on the road. So don't speed on the roads, guys. And we know you shouldn't be on your phone. Even just to pick it up and look at a quick message, do not be on your phone. That second will absolutely distract you and the worst could happen. And while we also know never to drive while impaired by alcohol or drugs, unfortunately, I think this is one of the biggest reasons that we have fatalities on our roads and so many accidents as well. Now, the press release published yesterday the government issued on the campaign stated, in light of the recent fatalities on the roads in Grand Cayman, the Minister for Planning, Lands, Agriculture, Housing and Infrastructure, Honorable J.E. Banks, has underscored the gravity of the issue, stating, we all have a role to play in keeping our roads safe. It starts with taking responsibility for how we drive, how we think about safety, and how we look out for each other on the road. This campaign is not just about raising awareness, it is about saving lives. Far too often, serious road incidents happen because of poor decisions that could have been avoided. That has to change. The launch of the second phase of the National Road Safety Campaign comes on the heels of 2 accidents that resulted in 2 fatalities within just a few hours of each other from late Sunday evening to early Monday morning, just yesterday. RIP to the deceased and condolences to their family, friends, and loved ones, and wishing all involved with injuries a healthy recovery. Now I'm going to switch direction to talk about procurement. We're going to dive into a recent Cayman Islands government procurement controversy, the Department of Tourism's request for proposals to Canadian media agencies, which triggered a red alert from the Institute of Canadian Agencies, aka the ICA, warning Canadian ad agencies to avoid bidding on DOT's proposal. Now, I'd love to get your thoughts if you've had experiences with procurement, whether good or bad, what you think about this red alert matter that happened with the Canadian media agencies in encouraging agencies within Canada not to bid on DOT's proposal. I'd love to get your feedback and know what you think. The numbers to call are 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, and you can WhatsApp call or WhatsApp text us at 925-3261. Now, the Compass first reported on this on July 17th, and Cayman News Service also did a story on July 24th. And this morning, we're taking a bit of a deeper look at the matter, which I hope to turn into a more detailed discussion on the procurement process with government in general. So, Susan, take note. I think you already know that this. We've been talking about procurement a little bit here and there, and I think you know that this is a discussion that we want to get into to understand the procurement process in greater details and also people's experience with the procurement process. So hopefully from this morning, we're going to edge our way into a deeper discussion. But let me tell you what led to the red alert issued on the DOT's proposal, request for proposals, and why it matters, and the parallels in Cayman procurement practices. So that's what we're going to talk about. And again, you can call in with your questions and opinions on this incident, or if you want to talk about any procurement experience that left a good or bad taste in your mouth. So what exactly happened? Well, the Department of Tourism, the DOT, issued an open request for proposals, RFP. That's probably what I'm going to call it, an RFP going on, to Canadian media agencies for Canadian $1.5 million in media spend. The DOT is basically saying, hey, we're seeking someone to do our marketing. This is the budget we will give you to work with. Now come up with a marketing strategy and present it to us. And may the best pitch win our business. One important detail about this RFP is that it requested a fully detailed 12-month media strategy as a bid requirement. The Institute of Canadian Agencies, aka the ICA, their Pitch Watch division, after multiple complaints from Canadian agencies, issued a red alert, meaning they are advising agencies within Canada not to participate by responding with a bid, claiming it imposed excessive speculative work and lacked a pre-qualification stage. This red alert was issued after the ICA allegedly asked the DOT to change some of the criteria on the RFP, to which the DOT declined. After refusing the ICA's request, the red alert was sent to Canadian agencies. Campaign, which is a global leading marketing industry publication, published on July 13th, a digital article titled, Why the ICA Called a Red Alert on the Cayman Islands, with the following statement from the ICA. Participants should be aware that the process requires an inordinate amount of speculative work by all participants in an open call process. Although this is not a mandate, the ICA encourages agencies to make a full commercial assessment of the process before taking part. Now, that is the statement that the ICA gave to Campaign, which again is a global leading marketing industry and resource publication. As a marketer, Campaign is huge globally. It is a huge resource for marketers. To me, it is highly embarrassing to be caught up in this kind of an incident in Campaign magazine because it taints a brand once a red alert has been issued on you. And the Cayman Islands is very, very much a brand. And how the Department of Tourism likes to market the Cayman Islands, well, we're dependent on that brand. Now, the statement from the ICA, it included a quote from their president and CEO, Scott Knox. Now, this again was in the campaign publication on a digital article printed on July 13th. The statement from their president and CEO says, "The RFP requires a fully worked up 12-month media strategy. In other words, the entire planning bit of the account needs to be done to win the business. And seemingly, there lies the problem. The request for a detailed 12-month media strategy. This is the speculative work being asked. Speculative work refers to unpaid creative or strategic work requested by a client before an official contract or commitment is made. In the case of a 12-month media strategy and full budget, the client, in this case is DOT, is asking the agency to deliver work that normally takes weeks and sometimes months of paid collaboration, all without any guarantee of compensation or contract awarded. I can tell you that having a boutique marketing firm, that the amount of free creative work and free strategy that businesses want, whether they're very in the know of how marketing works or they're not entirely sure, it's insane how much people expect the freeness of the creative work. And the problem is they don't have to award you the work, but you gave them the ideas and they can just run with it. So that therein lies a really big problem. DOT did issue a very short response to campaign saying, "As a matter of government policy and to ensure fairness, we do not publicly discuss procurements." So that was an interesting response to campaign, a very short response to campaign. However, while campaign didn't receive much of a response, I mentioned at the beginning that the Compass covered this story on July 17th, titled "The Tourism Department Rebuked Over Canadian Pitch Process." And I'm going to read a response by the DOT to the Compass in relation to the red alert. As taken directly from the Compass, quote, "In a statement to the Compass, the Department of Tourism said it acknowledges the ICA's position. However, given the progression of procurement, it is inappropriate and unfair to any proponent who may have prepared or already submitted a response to modify the requirements at this stage. CDOT's tender was a request for proposals and agencies are free to decide whether to participate. All requirements were clearly outlined in the RFP document, along with a stated mechanism for submitting questions or raising concerns, which remains the appropriate channel for such feedback. CDOT is guided by the Procurement Law 2016 and Regulations 2022 revision, and we remain committed to a fair and transparent process for all participants. As a matter of legislation, policy, and to ensure fairness, we do not publicly discuss procurements. We will make no further comment at this time." Now we're going to go into why this matters, what is involved in the procurement process, and how it could be different for industries. But we're going to take a commercial break. Again, right before we take that break, I want to remind you, if you have had experiences in the procurement process, anything you can share with us, enlighten us. Let us know what you think of this incident. Do give us a call. The numbers to call are 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or you can WhatsApp call or WhatsApp text us at 925-3261.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Alexander Selvin Eden, 1888 through 1985. Alexander Selvin Eden was a dedicated family man. He and his wife, Sarah Leonie Nee West, had 7 children, and their father made sure that they had the best education available. He loved to work the land and also raised livestock, providing steady employment for others. As a young man, he worked overseas on the construction of the Florida East Coast Railway, returning home after World War I. His major contribution was filling the void in transportation of goods and passengers between Georgetown and Bordentown, which he did with a horse-drawn carriage for 35 years in all kinds of conditions. The government called upon him for many duties in his district, including police service, tax collection, operation of the cattle dip to control ticks, service as foreman of roadworks, and as pound keeper, keeping stray cattle until their owners reclaimed them, and the maintenance of telephone lines. He also served as a member of the Assembly of Justices and Vestry.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way. Positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
I'm Michael Webster.
And I'm Denise Brown of Cayman Insurance Center.
Family is not the most important thing, it's everything.
We have worked with the community and their families on protecting themselves for the future.
Whether it's providing top-rated life insurance
or protecting your family's household investment.
From our family to yours, we understand and we care.
I'm Denise Brown. Call me at 814-7229.
And I'm Michael Webster at 925-5433.
We are Cayman Insurance Center.
Specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services at an affordable rate. We are Michael and
Denise at Cayman Insurance Center.
Call today.
Summer's heating up and the water's calling. From cruising the coast in your boat to riding Yamaha Wave Runners, Automotive Art Cayman will get you ready. We offer expert servicing by Yamaha certified staff as well as engine repairs, performance upgrades, engine and electrical installation, and more. Need it tuned, cleaned, repaired, or race ready? We'll keep you running smooth whether you're riding waves or racing them. Trust Automotive Art for expert service and upgrades. Find us on Shedden Road and follow us at Auto Art KY on Instagram and Automotive Art Cayman on Facebook.
This is an announcement for shareholders of Cayman National Corporation Limited. Republic Financial Holdings has made a cash offer of $7.75 per share for the purchase of the remaining minority shareholdings of Cayman National. The offer is open until 5 p.m. Cayman time on July 29th. Shareholders are reminded to review the offer and submit their form of acceptance to offers at rfhl.com if they wish to accept the offer. For any questions, shareholders can reach out to Republic Financial Holdings at offerquestions@rfhl.com.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Welcome back to The Buzz. I am your host, Kathy Miller, and we have some open line. If you'd like to give me a call, the number is 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or 1-800-534, oh wait, I already said that one, or WhatsApp 925-3261. You can WhatsApp call or text us there. And during the break, I did get a text, so I'm going to read this, and it says, "Good morning, Kathy. Great topic. This RFP practice is typical of many government contracts. I have submitted 3 proposals for professional services, and this is very typical of government RFPs. For one, the bidder had to provide a full methodology for work that would have spanned 3 years over 2 phases. Each of us bidders basically gave the government free options. Intellectual property, all without no guarantees it won't be shared with others or that you will be awarded the project. We ceased bidding on government work since 2021. That is an experience that I wanted shared. So those are the kinds of stories, experiences from business owners in Cayman that go through the procurement process that I would love to hear about. So thank you to our listener for sharing that. Hopefully, when we do have a bit of a roundtable discussion on this, and hopefully rope in the procurement office to follow up on that discussion, we can get some insight and understand how they might be moving or what changes they might need to make or consider making. All right, so why does that whole red alert being issued by Canadian agencies to not bid on the DOT's marketing proposal, why does that even really matter to us? So aside from, a bit of embarrassment out there, international credibility and supplier confidence are on the line. So when a government's procurement is labeled as onerous, I always say the word wrong, and falling beneath international standards, it hinders future participation from experienced bidders. And I think we just heard that from one of the caller or one of the listeners just now. This means that the quality creative agencies won't be bidding on these kinds of proposals, and the less experienced likely will be. Small or local agencies can't afford to devote that kind of time to something they may not win. Extremely felt in Cayman. We know what that feels like. And it raises broader questions of value for money, fairness, and how Cayman's procurement laws and regulations govern open calls and competitive processes, and how up-to-date Cayman is with some industry global standards. So this leads me to wanting to explore the procurement process in Cayman in greater depth, but we'll continue, which I mentioned, but we're going to continue tackling this particular matter first. So we're going to touch on global standards for RFPs. Is it a global standard to ask for full detailed plans and costs in RFPs? No, it is not. While some RFPs require great attention to detail, that is only for a few industries. Requiring fully fleshed out plans, strategies, budget, and creative work is widely considered bad practice, especially in the creative industries. And why is that? Well, because it puts too much risk and time investment on bidders without payment, especially when the number of respondents is high. And very, very importantly, it also exposes creative IP without contractual protection. I'm going to say that one more time. It also exposes creative IP without contractual protection. And that also is what one of our listeners echoed in the WhatsApp text to me just a few minutes ago. There was no guarantee that their work wouldn't be shared or undergone even if that bidder wasn't awarded the contract. You understand how controversial this can be, asking for fully planned out, detailed information on a proposal, on a project that you need done, and then completely fully planned out, and then not awarding somebody that work, and also not awarding them any protection of the work that they did deliver to you on that bid, but you're able to just run with their ideas and do what you want. You understand why that's a problem in business. Unethical, perhaps. We do have a call. Let's take that call. Good morning. Thank you for calling The Buzz.
Morning, Kathy. Am I on with you?
Yeah, you're here. How are you doing?
Grateful to be alive, darling.
Excellent. Me too. Share with us what are you thinking this morning?
Yeah. Just for a second. I just briefly heard your talk there regarding somebody called in or WhatsApp you regarding the procurement of government.
Yes.
And quite honestly, I think this government that's just in right now, one bit of advice I would give them is to scrap their procurement office, and especially this one that they call Bonfire. And I would secondly request from them to find qualified people who know what they're talking about and who understand the processes of buying on an international market and describing of what they want and setting guidelines and terms. There is no business on this island that can go through what you go through with that Bonfire crap that they have. And maybe it's good. Crap may be not a hard word for me to say at the time of it, but I have had numerous experiences with it, and it is not designed for anything. I don't know how. I mean, they put it out there and they tell you that it's for Caymanian businesses, but you go and you got people from overseas bidding it and getting the projects, and who gets to work? You know, how do you compete? How do you understand it? They don't understand the timelines with the UN. If you're getting something from a manufacturer, what those designated timelines are. And you got a 2 or 3 week timeline to return a bid to you when you've got other projects on. That caller was right, you know, and everything that they're saying there. And I support that 100%. And, yep, I think it would be a good time for you or OC or somebody to have dignified, qualified people in there to have a discussion surrounding what happens there. Because on the other hand, government does not get value for money. Somebody is getting the kickback, and I'm not afraid to say it. Somebody's getting a kickback out of this thing, and a good one. You know, it's just like that's. I don't know. I just don't understand what happens in our country anymore. It's totally gone. You know, and if you're not in somebody's pocket, you're just left behind.
Yeah.
I guess that's my rant for the morning. But on the other hand, let me give you another one that I have.
I don't think it's a rant. I just think you're sharing your stories. You have maybe a minute because we got a wrap for the 8 a.m. news. So I actually don't think I can allow you to give another story. I'm sorry. I'm being yelled at by the studio. Not yelled at, but you can call back for 9 a.m. if you're still listening then. I'd appreciate that because I'm going to continue this discussion. I have a next guest for 8 a.m. And also, while I do have you on the phone, I'm hoping, if possible, if you would like to join a roundtable discussion that I do want to have with business owners and people that have gone through procurement process, if off air, but with Susan, you can leave your name and number. If you'd be willing to join the discussion, I would greatly appreciate that too. But we can pick this combo up at 9 a.m. if that's okay with you.
I think you know my name. Susan knows my name. You both have my numbers.
Well, I just, I'm being careful here. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your input. I think it was great. And that's the conversation that we need to have. And I agree. That's what I'm trying to do. So let's go to the 8 a.m. news right now. And then I'll be back and I'll be speaking with Cayman Finance upon our return to the buzz.
Thank you, Kathy. And studio time now by Foster's is 8 o'clock.
School starts here. Countdown to class is on, and Foster's is your premier back-to-school destination. Whether you're shopping for glue sticks, notebooks, backpacks, or snacks, we've got the ultimate selection. And this summer, back-to-school is extra rewarding with our weekly prize drops of gift cards or backpacks stuffed with snacks and supplies. One-stop shopping, smart picks, and prices that make the grade. So check out our in-store school zones to make it easy to grab exactly what you need to fuel their mind and their day. Or shop online at fosters.ky/go. Foster's, school starts here.
Information, entertainment, inspiration.
Covering Grand Cayman, Little Cayman, Cayman Brac.
Since 1976 till now.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. Folks in Cayman Brac were hit with a power outage overnight. Island Energy reported the outage online at 11:44 p.m. with the lights restored for North Side West, Bluff East, and Bluff West shortly after midnight, followed by South Side West about a half an hour later. Finally, all feeders were back up and running at 20 to 2 a.m. The cause of the outage was not reported. As the Cayman Islands government seeks to move forward with plans to decriminalize marijuana, officials are making it clear that this does not mean legalization or a potential new source of government revenue.
Decriminalization is about simply removing the criminal conviction element from people who are caught utilizing, and it's going to be, narrow. It's going to be some small amount, which we haven't yet exactly defined, and that's one of the reasons for submitting it to an agency like the Law Reform Commission to work on that. But that is simply going to be just a way of avoiding a criminal conviction. It's not going to involve any kind of revenue opportunity at all.
On Radio Cayman's For the Record, MP Wayne Panton said international treaties prevent the Cayman Islands from creating a legal market for ganja.
That can't happen because we are a British overseas territory and we are subject to an international drugs convention, which lists marijuana as a Schedule I drug, one of the highest drugs to be controlled. And Bermuda has tried it, BVI has tried it, and they've both been rejected, and the UK will not agree to it.
The Law Reform Commission is expected to review the matter and make recommendations, including how much marijuana a person can possess without facing criminal charges. However, public consumption will still be restricted. And in other news, the Development and Control Board, which oversees construction projects in the Sister Islands, sends 3 Port Authority projects to the National Conservation Council for review. At its July 11th meeting, the Port Authority had 3 applications up for consideration by the DCB. Up first, a small guardhouse at its Creek Road location in Cayman Brac. The Port Authority is also looking for a green light on its applications for 2 unloading ramps at the corner of Sam McCoy's Drive at the entrance of the port, along with an office building at Creek Road and Tatum Road, which will feature public transaction counters, 2 additional offices, a staff lunchroom, conference room, and restrooms. The DCB decided in all 3 cases to refer the application to the NCC as there may be, quote, potential adverse effects. During this meeting, the DCB also discussed significantly increasing after-the-fact fees to, quote, discourage development without planning permission, shifting enforcement and stop notice authority from the Director of Planning to the DCB, and the need for additional planning staff in the Sister Islands. To speed up the process, the board says it would like to have all Department of Environment comments under the Development and Planning and National Conservation Acts the, quote, first time they consider an application. The DCB also wants all reviews for Cayman Brac and Little Cayman building permits to be assigned to the combination inspector based in Cayman Brac. You can find the full summary online at planning.ky. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which takes us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller.
BBC News with Eileen McHugh. A UN-backed global hunger monitor has said the worst-case scenario of famine is now unfolding in Gaza. Aid workers insist airdropping food into the territory isn't enough. They say the unfolding disaster is reminiscent of famines last century in Ethiopia and Nigeria. Despite the widespread warnings, Israel continues to deny there's starvation in Gaza. The health ministry in the territory says the number of Palestinians killed by Israel's offensive has surpassed 60,000. Strikes are continuing even as the hunger crisis worsens. The governor of Sudan's Darfur region has criticised the army for failing to end a year-long siege, which has led to severe hunger in El Fasher city. Rights groups say the paramilitary rapid support forces have committed widespread atrocities there. The European Commission has denied its new commitment to increase US fossil fuel imports will undermine the EU's climate goals. The bloc promised to buy more US fuel as part of its trade pact with Washington. BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Boddentown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin, or the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Boddentown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio. Water Authority Cayman wishes to advise the motoring public of upcoming road works to upgrade the public wastewater collection system. The works are scheduled to take place from Tuesday 29th July to Wednesday 30th July at the West Bay Road and Piper Drive intersection in the vicinity of Coconut Joe's. The work will require diverting southbound traffic to the middle turn lane from 8:30 a.m. on Tuesday, July 29th until 3 p.m. on Wednesday, July 30th. The motoring public is asked to follow all traffic management signs and exercise caution while driving in the area. The Water Authority apologizes for any inconvenience this may cause and appreciates the public's understanding. Are you feeling overwhelmed, sad, stressed out, or suicidal and need support? Call 1-800-534-6463. K-Mind Mental Health Helpline. It's okay to ask for help. K-Mind Mental Health Helpline, available from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. Monday to Friday. It's free and confidential support and guidance on your emotional and psychological health.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the people's station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
The 8 a.m. weather update brought to you by CG Britcay, where people come first.
Pleasant good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Current temperature is 86 degrees. Relative humidity is 76%. The barometric pressure 30.00 inches and rising. The wind is out of the northeast at 8 knots. Overnight low was 81. Synopsis indicate light winds and slight seas are expected over the Cayman Islands this morning. A weak tropical wave is expected to support cloudy skies and showers with thunder from this evening. Radar imagery show isolated showers northwest of the Cayman area moving towards the west. Now the forecast of the Cayman Islands for today: Calling for partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of afternoon showers and possible thunder. Temperatures today will be in the low 90s with a heat index near 105 degrees Fahrenheit. Your winds will be east to northeast at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. Tonight, partly cloudy skies with cloudy spells and a 30% chance of showers and isolated thunder, and temperatures falling to the low 80s tonight. Your winds will be east to northeast at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight to moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. High tide will be this afternoon at 12:59, low tide this evening at 6:48. The sun will set this evening at a minute after 7 and will rise tomorrow morning at 2 minutes past 6. And the outlook is calling for continued cloudy, rainy conditions through Thursday morning as the wave moves west over the western Caribbean. And that's the very latest on your weather report.
If you have an objection to this marriage, speak now or forever hold your...
Don't do it, Tevin! I still love you. I have since the day we stole your mom's car and got matching dolphin tattoos.
Oh, Lordy. Janelle? From spring break 08?
Yes, it's me.
Janelle, you've got to move on.
We're like the wedding guest that doesn't ruin the ceremony. CG Brit-K. Good like that.
The 8 a.m. weather update brought to you by
CG Brit-K, where people come first.
Social media, X, formerly Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Interact with our talk shows on YouTube. Download our official Radio Cayman app, or you can log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky. You can also add us to WhatsApp
on 925-3261.
All the latest information, breaking news, community events, and more. Radio Cayman.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
Good morning. Let's take a look at what's happening on the roads. Further up on Shamrock Road, traffic is moving on moderately. Further down, it'll steadier traffic on the Linford Pearson Highway. Slow-moving traffic on Crew Road heading to Georgetown. Expect some delays as we look to Bobby Thompson Way coming off of there. Steady traffic as well as Agnes Way. Owen Roberts Drive flowing pretty good, and as well as on Edward Street coming from the West Bay four-way stop, moderate flow of traffic. And traffic is steady but flowing on the West Bay Road in front of the Ritz, and steady but flowing traffic on North Sound Road. Coming off of the Estella Tibbetts Highway as well, moderate flow of traffic heading towards the Industrial Park area. And on Huldah Avenue, traffic is steady. Eastern Avenue and Godfrey Nixon Way flowing at a moderate pace in both directions. And that's the very latest on your traffic. Join us again at about 10 minutes past 12. We'll give you another look at traffic. Have a good morning and drive safe.
There's something new at Subway. Indulge your taste buds with our new barbecue pork rib sandwich tender. Smoky pork ribs smothered in sweet and tangy barbecue sauce, built just the way you like it. It's bold, rich, and seriously satisfying. But hurry, it's here for a limited time only. Order now on the Subway Cayman Islands app for quick in-store pickup, or get it delivered with Bento or Let's Eat. The all-new barbecue pork rib sandwich, only at Subway. Subway, eat fresh.
Yummy.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
I'm Michael Webster.
And I'm Denise Brown of Cayman Insurance Center.
Family is not the most important thing, it's everything.
We have worked with the community and their families on protecting themselves for the future.
Whether it's providing top-rated life insurance
or protecting your family's household investment.
From our family to yours, we understand and we care.
I'm Denise Brown. Call me at 814-7229.
And I'm Michael Webster at 925-5433.
We are Cayman Insurance Center.
Specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services at an affordable rate. We are Michael and
Denise at Cayman Insurance Center.
Call today.
Good morning. Welcome back to The Buzz. I didn't even realize we were coming right back to the show like that. So I missed my cue. I was running in like, okay, I'm ready. But now we're ready again. So welcome back to The Buzz. And in this segment, we're going to be talking with Cayman Finance. They have launched a graduate training program, and they're recruiting for 16 roles for Caymanian class of 2025 university graduates. So joining us today is Danielle Hennings, an associate director responsible for community engagement at Cayman Finance. And we also have 2 interns from Cayman Finance, Aysia Mason and Kiarah Mckenzie. So good morning, ladies. How are we all doing today?
Good morning. Good morning. Good, thank you. Kathy, how are you?
I'm good. It's good to have you back, even though we saw each other in March and I did not know it was March. Danielle was like, it was just March, Kathy. I'm like, no. Well, I guess because it was like election season for me then, so I really don't. That's all I remember is that. So. Yes, and we were talking about your lead program under Cayman Finance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's been a few months. What's new? What's the big new movements happening at Cayman Finance?
Absolutely. So definitely the launch of our new graduate training program, which came together within the past few months. We've officially launched recruitment on Friday last week, and we're going to have a drive for a few weeks. Hopefully, find the best candidates we can to participate in this first cohort, this first group of recent university graduates who are looking for their first opportunity in the financial services industry.
All right. Now tell us a little bit about Cayman Finance. I'm sure most of our listeners are familiar, but there's some who don't know the purpose of Cayman Finance, the objectives, what you guys do in the community.
Yep, no, happy to. So at Cayman Finance, our mission is to enhance the success of our members, our clients, and our community. We are a membership association and an industry association that represents the financial services industry as a whole. So we receive funding from our members. These are the firms that service the industry, as well as from the Ministry of Financial Services. So from the government, we're a public-private partnership. And that means we've got a lot of stakeholders that are, concerned or interested in what we're doing as an organization. A big focus for us, one of our strategic pillars, is community engagement. And so that's the area I get to look after, and it kind of encompasses a lot of our initiatives that we do. And what we want to do at Cayman Finance is to continue to enhance our community. So it's this wonderful place that we all get to call home.
And finance is perhaps our biggest contributor to our economy, right?
Absolutely.
Probably one of those biggest pillars that are there. The finance, law, tourism, real estate. Those are kind of the top 4. So in saying that, I find that a lot of people, we live in a world, in a country that's not dictated by finance or governed by finance, but it's so much of the Cayman Islands, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Even worldwide, when people think of Cayman, they think of, the negative connotations of Cayman and, the finance world, which is a wrong representation of Cayman. But in saying that, there's still a lot of things that people don't understand about the finance world. And I find with what Cayman Finance does, there's a lot of kind of education that you guys do out there, and a lot within the community. The presence in the past couple of years has been greater within the community. How have you found, from your experience, how have you found that's perhaps changed how people understand how finance affects the Cayman Islands, or plays such an important role for the Cayman Islands?
Yeah, I think that's a really, really great point, Kathy. And I think, the industry, financial services industry, our clients are around the globe. We service a global industry, right? So they're not based locally generally, right? And so the financial services industry members that you'd recognize the most are probably the biggest banks, which are also, they have a retail arm as well. And so that's quite familiar to you. Whereas a lot of our members, we are not their target market. They're servicing clients around the globe. And so there's that kind of disconnect between the everyday person, kind of your everyday life. I think what Cayman Finance as an organization has done and is continuing to do is to make it relatable to you and your future, right? Through our LEAD program, for example, we've taken on 45 students this year who have each been paired with a mentor and have had their first work experience ever in the industry, right? So they're 16 or 17, they're high school students, and they're getting this introduction to finance or financial services being more than just this thing that generates government revenue and contributes to the economy quite significantly. It has a personal impact on them through that experience that they've had, but not just them, then they've got their parents and maybe family members who are aware too of what some of those opportunities are and could be for your future, what those employment opportunities could look like. Because not only is the industry a huge contributor to government revenue, as we know, but it's a great employer. You know, there are a number of Caymanians and expatriates working in the industry to service this global client base. And if you have an interest, a willingness, and a desire to learn the industry, then there should be a place for you to work in it.
Absolutely, I agree. And there's so many different roles within finance.
Mm-hmm.
And I think once you start realizing that, it's like, okay, you kind of see what the options are, but a lot of people don't even know what those roles are. And we kind of have maybe auditor or accountant or something like that in our minds, a fund manager. But could you at all elaborate on what some of the different roles, aside from the most common ones we know, are?
Yeah, so definitely client service, like you've mentioned. Like I started my career in audit as an auditor, or lawyers that service clients. Absolutely, but there's other sectors we haven't even talked about. There's like insurance management, for example, so like captive insurance managers. There's the trust sector, so you could become a trustee, for example. What else do we have? There's compliance departments in every single one of those businesses that have to make sure that the businesses, that the clients they serve are following the rules and regulations as they need to. So there's client service, which is client facing, which is probably what you're most familiar with. But then there's back office operations too. You need HR teams, you need marketing teams. There aren't as many roles kind of in back office as there are in client service. And I think that's typical, right? But there are multiple avenues, pathways, different entrances to get into the industry.
Okay, I like it. Now, all the programs, you guys have a few programs, so can you touch on the different programs that Cayman Finance does offer?
Sure, yeah. So our lead program is geared at high school students who haven't yet graduated, who are considering what their options are. They might not have decided what they want to study at university. Gives them an opportunity to learn about the industry through 8 weekly workshops. During that same time, they're paired with a mentor that they meet with for 1 hour per week. And then if they successfully complete those components of the program, they have the opportunity to do a 4-week paid work placement at one of our members. So we are in the middle of internships right now. So my July students are wrapping up, and then August starts, which we have about 12 of them are starting next week. And then we'll have a celebration event in September where they get a certificate of completion. Mentors, parents, intern hosts are invited to celebrate the students as they've completed the program. So that program actually started back in 2015 under a different name. So that's a historical Cayman Finance program that the whole team is really proud of supporting and continuing to see it grow. Recently, just last year in the fall, we launched our Fundamentals of Financial Services program, which is geared at educating middle school students, so year 9s, on just some topics that are relevant to the industry.
Like what kind of topics?
Okay, so like, what is money?
Okay.
What is money? But
a lot of people can't answer that. What is money?
No, I mean, I probably couldn't answer it before I had to learn how to teach it. You know, what is money actually? And we talk about the history of money and what it was before and then the future maybe. But if you don't understand what money is, how are you supposed to understand that financial services is all about money? So it's like that's why we call it the fundamentals, the foundation, the building blocks, because if you don't have that, then like, how could you see yourself as like an investment manager one day, for example? So we talk about what is money, what is a company in terms of not just a physical brick and mortar building, but, you know, a piece of paper that separates the company from the owners, right? It's its own legal personhood is what a company has. So again, that concept allows you to then better understand one day what a fund is and why we're this huge jurisdiction and why funds all over the world want to register in Cayman. Our very first session is how to make money, because again, you know, that's important.
I'm sure middle school
they're interested.
They want to know.
Spoiler alert, the answer is to get a job. right? And to work really hard and, kind of put in your full effort, progress in an organization. That's the messaging. So we launched that in the fall last year and piloted it in a few different public and private high schools here and in Cayman Brac, so that went into the second term as well. And I facilitated those sessions. That was really, really enjoyable, just to kind of engage with the students. You have to make it fun for them. I thought I could be a teacher, but I don't think so. I think 1 hour per week is okay. But goodness, so much respect for them and what they do on a daily basis. But just trying to keep them engaged, but on topic and interested.
Right.
I think it's been really fun. But I can see, in a couple years' time, I'm hoping these students are going to be our lead students, right? That want to then participate in the program, learn more about the industry, and maybe come work in it one day.
So that program is for high school students?
Yes, like year nines.
Year nines, okay.
Before they've made their subject choices, because they choose. By that point, you're already kind of narrowing, like for high school, you're picking your GCSEs or your CXEs, and you're making some decisions about your future.
Yes, I think that's a great time to introduce it, because I almost feel like we're leaving the kind of financial classes or training or courses kind of in your later years to be electives and not necessarily something that I'm not saying that you have to take this course, but
no,
the sooner we're introduced to these things, the less of a mystery it is. At least for me. I don't know how our interns feel, but I'm going to hear from them in a few minutes. But at least for me, I'm curious. So just humor me with this with this question here. So when you ask the question, "What is money?" how do those students respond?
Like dollars and cents, probably, or a debit card. Yeah, like what's in their wallet.
Okay.
And so what we end up getting to is it's a measure of exchange, it's a unit of measurement, and it's a measure of value. Measure of value, method of exchange, and unit of measurement.
Okay. All right. I was going to say a tool, but which is basically, So
facilitates transactions, facilitates things happening. So we talk about, what happened before money, and they're like, oh, we bartered and you traded. And then what were the complications involved with that?
And that still happens today. So, exchanges are made all sorts of different ways, that's for sure. Okay, I like it. So that's that program. What is that program called?
That's called Fundamentals of Financial Services.
Fundamentals of Financial Services.
Kind of mouthful.
And then the lead program. And the lead program is also like an internship placement program.
That's right.
And what ages does that?
So 16 to 17-year-olds for the lead program. It's your second to last year of high school. So if you're in A-levels at, Catholic or prep, that'd be year 12. If you're studying at an American high school, that'd be grade 11. And then if you are in public school and you haven't gone to A-levels, it'd be your dual enrollment year at UCCI.
Okay. Well, thank you because I'm Canadian, so I don't understand. I still, after how many years here, I'm just like, I don't get how they do the school system here. What do you mean grade 12 is an alternate thing?
It's optional.
I had to go. But okay, that makes sense. So we've got the fundamentals in financial literacy, was it?
Fundamentals of Financial Services.
Okay, fundamentals of financial services, the lead program. Any other programs?
Yeah, our interns are here. So I can speak briefly about our quarterly internship program that we do at Cayman Finance. So every year we bring on two interns per quarter. We have our summer interns, and they're both in person, but generally in the other quarters throughout the year, we'll have one in person and one remote intern. So they might be studying abroad in the US and Canada or the UK, and they want to work, and they have time, and so they join us remotely for a 3-month period. They're part-time, so they're not working 40-hour weeks, but part-time, and whenever they're here in the summer and the fall, we have loads going on in terms of events or conferences. The SEMA Mixer is coming up this Friday, so we're getting ready for that. Radio appearances, who knows? They get to kind of come out and see what we're doing. So that's a program that we're really proud of, kind of our impact we're able to have. And I've had interns ask me, well, like, why can't we be full-time? I was like, because there'd only be one of you. But if we could do part-time, then we could double that impact, right? And generally during the summer, they want to work more. But in the fall and in the spring, they're studying. So they only have so many hours to give. But we find that we've really tapped into this labor market of university students who want to work and might not have the right to work where they're studying, right? There might not be a surplus of jobs available. And so we get loads of applications and always find really good candidates who do a lot of real work for us and contribute to the team, because we are, we're constrained by our time available. And so the more kind of people we can bring in to help, the more we can get done.
I love it.
Yeah.
So there's a real big focus from Cayman Finance on developing really the youth and their financial literacy, their understanding of financial services.
For sure.
So from your understanding, why is there such a big focus there? Because we have a bunch of programs here that focus from middle school to, just leaving university.
Yeah, I think it's a demand from our members who service the industry, who want access to local talent. And if we are not training them up and making them aware of those opportunities, they're not going to be able to recruit and hire locally. They really want to. I think too, when the industry was started decades ago, right, it wasn't for the benefit of the global economy. That's not what, our forefathers or founders created it for. It was for the benefit of the Caymanian people, right? And to, create jobs, to create government revenue. And so that was the whole purpose, right? And so if we're not continuing to doing that, if that's not our focus, then we're kind of off course. Obviously, the clients that we serve are super important, and we wouldn't be here without the clients that our members serve. But our community is just as important. The people that are available to work in the industry, that are advocating for it. Like you said, we don't necessarily have the most positive reputation on a global scale, but a lot of that is not people not being educated or misinformation, right? And not really understanding the value that Cayman brings to the way the world works, right? We're this tiny island, but the kind of transactions that can be facilitated without, I'm getting to a thing, but another layer of tax, right? That yes. we don't put that on top of a transaction. That's why business happens here, right? And so if us as a people can't speak confidently about that and talk about the use case of the Cayman Islands as a jurisdiction, then how do we expect anybody else in the world to stand up or say, well, what, Cayman's not so bad after all, or there's benefits to having a thriving financial center on this little island in the Caribbean.
Beautifully said. And you're right. We got to pop our own collar, basically. Yeah. We got to flex our muscles and let people know we are here. This is what we're great for, and this is why we're such an attractive place. All right. We're going to go to a commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to hear a little bit from our interns.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
This is an announcement for shareholders of Cayman National Corporation Limited. Republic Financial Holdings has made a cash offer of $7.75 per share for the purchase of the remaining minority shareholdings of Cayman National. The offer is open until 5 p.m. Cayman time on July 29th. Shareholders are reminded to review the offer and submit their form of acceptance to offers at rfhl.com if they wish to accept the offer. For any questions, shareholders can reach out to Republic Financial Holdings at offerquestions@rfhl.com.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Welcome back to The Buzz. I am your host, Kathy Miller, and we are talking with Cayman Finance about their graduate training program, which is a new program that they're offering. And we have in studio Danielle Hennings, Associate Director of Community Engagement at Cayman Finance. We also have interns, Aysia Mason and Kiarah Mckenzie. And we're going to be hearing from our interns right now. So again, good morning, ladies. Welcome to The Buzz. I know that you thought maybe you weren't going to be speaking at all, but I can't have you in studio and not, and we want to hear from you. This is the future for the Cayman Islands, so we do want to hear from you as well. Now, I'd like to know first, at least, what you're studying, where you're at. Kiera, let's start with you.
Okay, so I'm doing my bachelor's in law at the University of Leicester in the UK.
Congrats to you. What made you choose law?
I would say, from a young age, like everyone has seen like those shows like court scenes and everyone's like, wow, this is so interesting. But at St. Ignatius, I did take A-level law, and I like looking at the different areas like contract, tort, those sort of things. I'm like, wow, this is something like I could actually do in my future. Like this could be a career. Like doing the A-level law, I was like, yeah, this is very engaging. This is something I enjoy. I feel like I'm good at it. So like doing it as a career, I think like, you know, like most people when they choose a career, it's more like how they can, how it works with them in the future, like making good money. But like, I feel like, yeah, I can make good money while doing something that I love. And I think that was like the career for me personally.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. And that's, it is, people won't always agree with me, but I say it's a privilege when we can not only choose something to study, but something that's in alignment with us, something that we're passionate about. Some people don't have that choice at all. they gotta pick a subject that you know will absolutely help build finances within a home, right?
Yeah.
So if you're able to find, first of all, a subject that resonates with you, and then be able to pursue it in your education, and you're still liking it. How many years have you been studying law?
I just completed my first year.
Okay.
So I just have 2 more years left.
Okay. So was the first year really super hard? You hung in there?
No, so like A-level law, like we did tort on contract, so I was prepared for that. But there were a few other subjects that I was introduced to. But like, you know, at my school, they do have great like professionals that teach you. And I think they really actually cared about us in how we were learning and growing in that school. So I think, yeah, and also just like actually dedicating your time to studying, having that motivation to do well in school, like that's what requires you. That's what's required of you to do well in school as well.
That's so true. You got to put the work in.
Yeah.
And that's everything in life. You always have to put the work in. All right, Aysia, I want to hear from you.
So similar to Kiera, I'm also doing law. I just finished my second year at University of Essex. Can't hear me? Yeah, I just finished my second year at the University of Essex. It's been a great opportunity. I'd say that, well, we also went to the same school, so I did A-level law as well.
Okay.
We went to the same high school, we went to St. Ignatius. I did A-level law as well. And that was something that also shaped my experience, because when I was younger, I would say I was leaning towards more of like the writing aspect of things. Like I enjoyed writing. I wasn't really a science person or a math person. Like I was good at those things, but it wasn't something that I leaned towards. So yeah, I was just like, in what way could I, you know, use my writing skills? And, you know, I was doing like history, English, and those type of things and excelling in that way. And then once I did A-level law, it was just like, okay, this is the opportunity, you know, like I really enjoyed it as well. Lots of speaking, lots of, you know, like just so many different things, learned so many different topics, so many different areas of law. And it's just like, yeah. And then I decided to go into it in university.
So how have you applied your knowledge from university, and, you know, also from the things you've learned in high school and whatnot, how have you applied that at your internship at Cayman Finance, Kiera?
I would say definitely like a lot of research. So in every like law degree, you have to do like a lot of research, looking up cases, those sort of things. And coming to Cayman Finance, I do a lot of research. Like, for example, for the SEMA Mixer, I have to create a quiz for the students so that they're engaged. But I had to research interesting questions about the financial industry while having those questions be engaged in something that they want to learn. So I had to go through like many websites, finding recent up-to-date information that the children would want to learn about. And not only that, but for the career pathway as well, we had to do like in the different sectors in the financial industry, such as banking, reinsurance, insurance, those sort of things. We had to do like research, like what are the different levels, what are their salaries, how much people work in this sector, those sort of things, and having to like research, find accurate data that children can go based on so that they can find their pathway in the financial industry.
Okay, I like it. I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is.
What about you, Aysia? How have you been able to apply
like she said, also research, but I'd say maybe like organizational skills in some way, or like maybe like planning planning skills as well, because a lot of the times we're working on like planning events or assisting in planning events. So for example, me, I'm working on the intern alumni social at the moment. So that's August 5th, and it's where all the past interns come together and the current interns and all the staff come, and like networking and like those type of things. So I have to plan like what we're going to be doing at those events, and like the bookings and all those type of things. I've never done anything like that before, so I'd say it's definitely like it's very interesting, and I do enjoy it. So I'd say that, and for the most part they do those type of things like marketing and so yeah.
All right, I feel you. So you're helping a little bit more on the marketing side
Yes.
of things there. Okay. All right. Has your time at Cayman Finance helped shape how you want to move in the future career-wise? Has it shifted anything or helped shape it?
I'd say yes for sure.
Gotta give you my mic.
I'd say yes for sure. Something that drew me into wanting to be a part of Cayman Finance is the fact that they focus so much on the young Caymanians, and it's something that I want to be a part of as well, because as a young Caymanian and just trying to help younger Caymanians in the future as well is nothing that I've or maybe it's been at the back of my mind as I am one, but being at Cayman Finance has helped me to focus more on that and make game be like the aim of my future plans. And yeah.
Okay, I like that. I think that's a great thing. Yeah. What about you, Kiera?
Yeah, same with what Aysia said. The whole reason I want to do law is to contribute, give back to the community, and watching Miss Danielle help develop these programs, help young Caymanians find their path in the financial industry. It's wow, this is so inspiring, seeing these little children come, learn new things, develop their skills. That's something I want to contribute back to in Cayman, because Cayman has given me so many opportunities, scholarships, prioritizing me for jobs, those sort of things. And it's it's something you want to give back to, because you're learning, you're developing your skills in Cayman, you just want to give back to them as well.
I think that's beautiful. Both very community oriented in that sense.
Yeah.
Engaging in your community, which is exactly what Danielle's doing. So Danielle, for you hearing this, and they're part of your quarterly intern program, right? How does that make you feel, knowing that that the impact that it's had on them?
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible, right? And it's so rewarding. And I think I don't think you can have another job like my job that's as rewarding as this. But it's the biggest compliment we could ever receive, that's how they feel, or that's how we make them feel. And I think it just kind of emphasizes your point to well, Cayman Finance, why are you doing this in the community? What, what's the purpose? This is the purpose, right? It's not just about us. It's about the future and how that impact can continue to widen by people who are passionate about kind of opening doors for the next generation to come through.
Yes. Now, the graduate training program, this is the new program that we briefly touched on at the beginning here, but this is really what we're here to talk about, right? Mm-hmm. So tell us what prompted this idea of the graduate training program, the structure of the program, and there's going to be so much more. Eventually, we're going to go to a commercial break, but at least we're going to get started.
Okay. Sounds good, Kathy. So the program kind of came about after a significant amount of research by myself and the Cayman Finance team, conversations, surveys with our members to kind of figure out what the employment landscape looks like for them. So the employers, they're the demand side, how many opportunities are created annually for Caymanians to enter the industry, how many entry-level opportunities. That was a data point we were really interested in to figure out, okay, well, that's the demand side. What about the supply? How many grads do we have coming out, university graduates every year, looking for work? We found more about I guess the landscape within a business and financial services. So the majority of people working in the business are professionally qualified. So not only do they have a bachelor's degree most of the time, they also have some kind of qualification, like an accounting qualification, compliance, you name it. And so when we think about kind of increasing the number of opportunities in the industry, we are looking generally for university graduates, for example. We had a number of roundtable events with our members too to figure out, what are some of the challenges that that they might face when they're trying to recruit and hire local talent.
What are those challenges?
Yeah, so some of the challenges is just like awareness. They're smaller, maybe medium-sized members, and they don't have the same kind of brand awareness that our bigger members do, who, like, you'll recognize the logos, you'll see the buildings around. But again, it's, financial services being quite far removed from your day-to-day. So just like awareness of the opportunities for one, but also too for a smaller member, like bringing on somebody straight out of university is challenging, right? Like you almost need a whole other person dedicated to them to train them up and get them up to speed, ready to go. It'd be a lot easier to hire somebody with 2 to 3 years experience, which is, I think, from our grads returning home or leaving university locally, they're like, well, where's the opportunity for me? I just graduated. I don't have 2 to 3 years experience. So when we kind of came up with the graduate training program, it's like, how can we fix this? What can we do as an organization? How can we encourage our employers to create more of those kind of first steps, not the second step, but the first step into the industry? One way is by pooling the candidates. So we, Cayman Finance, are going out to recruit. We've got some awareness about what we are and what we do in the community, and we've got our members committed to offering those employment opportunities. So we're going out to recruit, we're going to shortlist the candidates and pick the best that we can then match to our members. So that's one of the kind of benefits that we're bringing. But we've encouraged the creation of these new jobs. So grads that are returning home or finishing locally, like I said, they have something available to them rather than feeling like, I just spent all this time studying. What am I going to do? I don't, I can do this job, I think, but I don't have the 2 to 3 years experience.
All right. Great reasons for wanting to have this graduate training program. We're going to talk about the program structure when we come back from our commercial break.
Okay.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Cruise into summer with expert service from Automotive Art Cayman. More than a retail store, it's your one-stop auto care shop. We offer paint, detailing, accessories, wheels, Yamaha parts and products, batteries, tire repairs, tire changes, and more. Need top-tier shine and protection? Grab Gliptone detailing gear, Chevron synthetic oil, and Axiom car care kits. Get expert service with premium products all under one roof. Wherever you cruise, make your pit stop at Automotive Art first. Find us on Shannon Road and follow us at Auto Art KY on Instagram and Automotive Art Cayman on Facebook.
We give you honor and praise, adoration and glory.
Radio Cayman.
Praise time.
Praise him, praise him. Come and let's praise the Lord. Come and let's praise the Lord. Praise him in the morning and in the evening. Oh, let's praise the Lord.
Praise time in the morning.
Praise him, praise him.
Weekdays 6 to 6:30 a.m.
Radio Cayman, waking you up.
Rock my soul in the blues of my faith in hand. Rock my soul in the blues of my faith in hand.
Praise time.
I know he cares. He'll always be there. Oh, yeah. Praise him, praise him, praise him.
Praise time.
Set your clock for 6 a.m. or you will miss it. The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
All right, welcome back to The Buzz. I'm your host, Kathy Miller, and we are talking with Cayman Finance about their graduate training program. We have in studio with me, I have Danielle Hennings, Associate Director, Community Engagement at Cayman Finance, and 2 interns, Aysia Mason and Kiarah Mckenzie. We heard from our interns on their experience, what they're studying at university, which they're both studying law, and their experience so far at Cayman Finance. And they both share the same sentiments about really wanting to give back and help develop the community because they've seen the impact that Cayman Finance has had in developing people in having a better understanding of financial services, and especially in their own training, their own experience at Cayman Finance. They understand how it's helping them in their career. So moving towards the graduate training program, Danielle told us a little bit about what inspired this program, and now we're going to hear a little bit about the program structure. What do participants, what should they expect once joining this program?
Yeah, great question. So the program, we've launched recruitment, but the program actually kicks off in October. And so at that point, successful participants would have been matched to an employer, one of our employers who are participating in the program, and they'll have an employment contract directly with them for a year. So the member has committed to that opportunity, that entry-level opportunity. And they'll start in October. We'll begin with a couple days of an orientation retreat where the recent grads, the trainees, can get to know one another, build a sense of community, some camaraderie. They're all going to be going out to different places of employment, but we wanted to create this kind of cohort feel environment that you're not just starting on your own, you're starting with some peers, albeit you won't see them every day. You will see them, on a Friday afternoon for the first 3 months to come back for training as well. So we'll have orientation, they'll get right to it, they'll start working, there'll be lots of on-the-job training, and then on a Friday afternoon, we're going to go through whatever topics we can do kind of classroom style and deliver in that group environment. They get to come back together. At the same time, they'll be paired with an industry mentor. So this is somebody who doesn't work with them in their organization, but has volunteered and wants to contribute. And it's just to bounce ideas off of them, really, and to get some perspective, I think, to somebody who's already been working in the industry. But we see that as a valuable kind of connection right as you get started in your career.
Absolutely. I think it is important because that new graduate is basically being guaranteed a job because you're placing them in an appropriate role with an employer. You have 25 job placements, right? I think it's 25?
16.
Oh, my bad. I don't know where 25 16 job placements available for new graduates for the 2025
That's right.
year. Okay.
Yeah.
So those who have just graduated, 16 guaranteed job placements for them, which I think is amazing. But again, maybe they haven't done internships before. Maybe they haven't really got any real life experience in that industry per se. Right. Different from being in a restaurant. A lot of us got our chops. I said that in the beginning before the show started. I had little part-time jobs in restaurants. Very different from a financial services firm, for example.
But I bet there's skills, transferable skills that you learn, right?
There's definitely some. So to be able to help them get their feet wet a little bit, you're guaranteeing them with a 1-year contract, but also a mentor to help guide them, because you really don't know what that experience is going to be like going in first year on the job, right?
For sure.
I like the mentorship pairing as well. So when you return for the Friday evening or Friday afternoon kind of sessions, what kind of training topics are we talking about here?
So some of them will be technical, like an introduction to anti-money laundering in the Cayman Islands, or an introduction to the Cayman Islands regulatory environment, which is going to be relevant to all of them, regardless of where they're working. On the other hand, we might do a session on presentation skills, personal brand, soft skills, different areas that can be kind of delivered in a classroom, but are important. Networking skills, workplace etiquette, those will take place earlier on, probably like at the orientation and retreat. The training sessions that happen throughout October, November, December are going to add to the experience that they're having. Performance feedback, for example, so how to take feedback and, what the different methods are and what you can do with that going forward. Again, it's something you're kind of just expected to know when you start. And so we want to give them all the tools as we possibly can so they can be set up for success.
How has the support been so far? Like, what are the companies that are
Yeah.
participating saying? And are you allowed to say which companies?
Oh, yes, I've got them. I've written them
great.
down. I'm actually going to refer to my notes. But yeah, we have 16 members who have committed to offering a one-year placement, which is incredible. Granted, some of these members would have already been looking for a recent grad, but some of them created an opportunity because we asked, right? Because we said, we'd like to do this program. And so they came up with something. In some cases, it's like a rotational program. So they get to go through different departments within the organization, learn the business, and then maybe they'll kind of focus in on one way. They're willing and interested and want to support the recent grad in obtaining a professional designation, right? And in some cases, they require it. They say, if you want to kind of succeed and move up in this industry, you need this, right? And so knowing from the beginning whether the graduate trainee is interested in that or not is quite important. It's actually in the application form, like, are you interested in kind of pursuing a professional designation? But I'm happy to list our members who are participating, which are BDO, Catalyst, Conyers, Dentons, DM Financial, Global Captive Management, Greenlight Re, Grant Thornton Specialist Services, IQEQ, JTC, More Professional Services, Rawlinson and Hunter, RF Bank and Trust Company, Strategic Risk Solutions, Teneo, and Willis Towers Watson.
All right, excellent. So thank you to those 16 companies who have stepped up and said, we are guaranteeing a one-year job placement for one of these 16 graduates that Cayman Finance is selecting to pair with that particular job and role, right? I love that. I think it's amazing. So congrats to those companies for stepping up, whether creating a role or saying, hey, no, we can put them in this role. And what I really liked was the rotational aspect that some companies have put into the new roles that they've created. I think that's awesome because it really does help you say, okay, hey, no, this is the area that I want to focus in. Or this is what aligns with me the best. So I think that's awesome. Okay. So you said that recruitment is already happening. So is there still time for people to apply?
Yes, definitely. So we launched on Friday, and the deadline for applications is the 14th of August. So 2 weeks on Thursday. If you want to apply, and if you know of a recent university graduate with a bachelor's degree or higher who's looking for an opportunity, please do encourage them to apply. You can apply at caymanfinance.ky/graduate. And there's some information about the program. If you scroll down to the bottom, a link to apply. We will, it's open to all university graduates. So you see, I haven't mentioned accounting or finance or economics, right? In terms of like typical degrees. That being said, some of our members do require a relevant degree. I'm saying relevant, and that like you need a strong kind of accounting or finance background to succeed in that role. And so it makes sense. But in some cases, any degree field, any field of study could be relevant to the job. And if you're willing to learn the industry, willing to learn the business, you can succeed, even, if you didn't perhaps study accounting at university. So we're trying to make it as accessible as possible rather than just like narrowing down to these, 5 or 6 fields of study that not everybody wants to do.
Now, I don't know how many graduates we've had. You might have that information from your research and whatnot, but it's a lot more than 16.
Yes.
So how, when it comes to you going through these applications, what are you looking for? What's the criteria that has to definitely be met, and how can you make your application more outstanding?
Yeah, no, that's
what
a
are the
great
tips
question.
there?
Yeah, great question. So definitely like the minimum requirement is that you have a bachelor's degree or higher. So bachelor's degree or master's degree, perhaps preference to certain relevant degrees for sure. We ask for a resume to be attached. So if you have had any part-time experience or internship experience, we'd look on that favorably, I'm sure. I'm trying to think what else. Well, we will have an assessment that you'll have to do. If you're kind of shortlisted and going to the next stage, you'll have to do an online assessment. So preparing for that and, making sure there's no distractions, I think is important. And then a short interview with myself and another member of the Cayman Finance team. So being ready to speak to your prior experience and like why you're interested in the opportunity. That's not something we ask at the application stage, but I think if you get to an interview that, being able to just say, like what attracts you about the industry, I think will be important, and that we can try to hopefully match you up to the best opportunity.
So it's only about a 3-week application process. That's a really short window.
I know.
Why is it such a short window?
It's just time isn't on our side, I suppose. We want our trainees to be ready to go for October. We need to give our members time to onboard them and make sure they have everything that they need. So you know, applications close by mid-August. By the end of August, I need to know, who we're moving forward with and who's been successful in obtaining a placement.
And after the 1 year is over, that 1 year contract is over, is there the possibility for that contract to be extended or renewed? I'm going to say that's ultimately up to that graduate, to that new employee to absolutely do their best.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it's in, like, the organization, the member would not have created this opportunity if they don't see, the next step, right? They ideally don't want to bring somebody on for just a year, probably, right? Like, they'd rather them be a long-term employee and continue to add value to the organization. So I think, like, while, initially it could be just for 1 year, or it could be open-ended and we'll see how it goes. It's really for the employer to decide how they're gonna move forward. But if you are performing well and you're enjoying what you're doing, like, I feel like you have the opportunity to move up, and you have to work at, get good at your kind of first job, and then how are you going to advance yourself? Are you going to do further education if needed? Are you going to get your professional qualification, right? To kind of set yourself apart and continue to progress.
To raise that stock. Yes. Okay, now we got to wrap up. But I want you to remind people where they can go to apply if they're interested in being a part of this graduate training program.
For sure. So you can visit our website, which is caymanfinance.ky/graduate, and scroll all the way to the bottom. There's a link to apply now.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, ladies, so much for joining us this morning on The Buzz. It was great to have you. And for Kiera and Aysia, I wish you the best in your university studies, that you fly through all your law subjects with flying colors, and all the best in your career progression, especially as you've been enjoying it so far with Cayman Finance. We got to go to the 9 a.m. headline news, and when we come back, I'm going to pick up on the discussion about procurement. And again, I'm looking for your calls, your experiences, so share them with me after the 9 a.m. headline news.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The headline news is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
The Royal Cayman Islands Police Service is advising that a large beehive has been disturbed near governor's residence, causing a, quote, massive swarming of bees in the area. As such, police cordons have been put in place to ensure public safety as efforts are made to bring the situation under control. Police are asking you to avoid the Governor's Beach area, the parking lot, shoreline, and near the road. In international news, the UN-backed food security body says the worst-case scenario of famine is currently playing out in the Gaza Strip. The IPC says, quote, mounting evidence shows that widespread starvation, malnutrition, and disease are driving a rise in hunger-related deaths. It comes as Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry says 60,000 Palestinians have been killed in the enclave since Israel's offensive began. Aid agencies warn Israel's measures to increase aid supplies to Gaza aren't enough. Israel insists there are no restrictions on aid deliveries and that there is, quote, no starvation. Israel does not allow international news organizations, including the BBC, into Gaza to report freely. United Kingdom Prime Minister Keir Starmer will soon hold an emergency cabinet meeting on Gaza as pressure mounts on him to immediately recognize Palestinian statehood. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Do you have a healthcare question but not sure who to ask? Contact HSA's Patient Call Center to speak to one of our experienced clinical team members. We are here to answer your questions and help guide you through your healthcare journey. Need to make an appointment? Our team can help. Contact HSA at 949-8600 or email info@hsa.ky. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Welcome back to The Buzz. I'm your host, Kathy Miller, and I want to say a big thank you to Cayman Finance, to Danielle and the two interns that joined her this morning, Kiera and Aysia, for giving us a great little interview to learn about what the interns there are doing at Cayman Finance and how their experiences helped shape their career choice, knowing that they're on the right path for what they're trying to do, and also to learn about the graduate training program that Cayman Finance has offered. And I think it's absolutely amazing that they are bridging the gap between university students who have successfully completed their studies and are looking to return to Cayman to get a job. And a lot of the time, a majority of these students can't find a job placement. So I think it's incredibly amazing that Cayman Finance has been able to work with 16 of their members to have each of those member companies create or offer a 1-year job contract if you are part of this graduate training program, if you apply, because Cayman Finance will look at the best kind of candidates via applications and pair that candidate with a particular firm. I think this is such a great way to help guarantee you a job, and why wouldn't you take that as a new graduate? Some of us have our own little connections. Some of us have a lot of trouble looking for a job, finding a job, doing all the things we got to do to prepare for the interview. We might be great at what we do, but it's all the other kind of prep work beforehand. We might not be so great at it, and therefore our job hunting process, it can be really disheartening at times. So really kudos to Cayman Finance for being able to get 16 guaranteed jobs for new graduates as long as you go through their graduate training program. So check out their website for further information. You have about 2 weeks left to apply. I'm going to return to the topic, which was about procurement procedures in the Cayman Islands. So that's a topic that I started with this morning on The Buzz from 7:30 a.m. And I opened that part of The Buzz by describing what happened between the Department of Tourism and the Institute for Canadian Agencies. So the Department of Tourism issued an open request for proposals, an RFP, to Canadian media agencies for Canadian $1.5 million in media spend. So it's the DOT basically saying, we're looking for somebody to do our marketing. This is the budget we have. And now come up with a great marketing strategy, and may the best pitch win our business. And a really important detail about the RFP is that it requested a fully detailed 12-month media strategy as a bid requirement. The Institute of Canadian Agencies, aka the ICA, after multiple complaints, issued a red alert, meaning they are advising agencies not to participate, by responding with a bid, claiming it imposed excessive speculative work and lacked a pre-qualification stage. This red alert was issued after the ICA allegedly asked the DOT to change some of the criteria on the RFP, to which the DOT declined. After refusing the ICA's request, the red alert was sent. Now, the story has been covered locally from, I think it was, I can't remember the exact date, I have it in my notes. I want to say the 17th of July, and then last week by Cayman News Service, but globally, Campaign, which is a huge global leading marketing industry publication, they also picked this up and published an article about this on July 13th called Why the ICA Called a Red Alert on the Cayman Islands. And the reason, I mentioned the thing about speculative work. So I'm giving you a bit of a summary of what was discussed from 7:30 to 8 a.m. So the problem with the RFP seemingly lies in the request for a detailed 12-month media strategy. So that is the speculative work being asked. Speculative work refers to unpaid creative or strategic work requested by a client before an official contract or commitment is made. So in the case of a 12-month media strategy and full budget, the client, which is the DOT, is asking the agency to deliver work that normally takes weeks and sometimes months of paid collaboration, all without any guarantee of compensation or contract award. Now, why does this matter to us? And as mentioned earlier, it is a little bit embarrassing to be called out by a huge country like Canada that the DOT's not living up to global standards when it comes to RFPs. The international credibility and supplier confidence are on the line. So when a government's procurement is labeled as onerous and falling beneath international standards, it hinders future participation from experienced bidders. So it could be a whole waste of time in the end. Smaller local agencies can't afford to devote that kind of time or money to something that they may not win. And we know what that feels like in Cayman. So it also raises a broad question of value for money, fairness, and how Cayman's procurement laws and regulations govern open calls in competitive processes. And it also calls into question how up-to-date Cayman is with some industry global standards. So, the global standards for RFPs, is it a global standard to ask for full detailed plans and costs? No, it is not. While some RFPs require great attention to detail, that's only for a few industries. It is not required in the creative industry. It puts too much risk and time investment on bidders without payment. And the reason for not submitting a fully detailed bid, especially when the numbers of respondents is high, is it also exposes creative IP without contractual protection. That is a major point that 2 of our listeners made earlier. Exposing creative IP without contractual protection. What are the industry exceptions for fully detailed RFPs? Because I did say that there's some industries that, yes, you do have to have fully detailed RFPs. Construction and engineering, public works or infrastructure, and even in software development. We do have a caller online, so let's take the call right now. Let's take the call now before we take the break, because we never know how it's going to go. So caller, good morning. Thanks for calling the Buzz.
Good morning, Kathy. Mario Ebanks, how are you today?
Good, Mario. How are you?
Good. Beautiful day in the Cayman Islands.
It is.
Interesting to hear you talk about the procurement issue and the Canadian Association that has sort of, what's it, red listed, blacklisted, or whatever, Cayman for his procurement practices.
Not blacklisted. I just want to say it was a red alert, and it was suggested, it was not a mandate, it was suggested that no Canadian agencies respond to the DOT's proposal.
Yeah, whatever it's called, red listed or whatever it is. Yeah, okay, I understand. What I didn't fully understand the rationale, but I do understand it now based on your explanation. When I saw it first, I had concern about it, but I certainly can understand what they're saying, because if our procurement system is so onerous, it's unreasonable, and I'm wondering whether it doesn't run afoul of our own Constitution, Bill of Rights, Section 19, subsection 2, which speaks to being acts of government being reasonable, rational, and administratively sound. You can check that if you want in Section 19.2 of the Constitution. But what also caught my attention earlier, one of your other callers, one of your local Caymanian businesses called, and I think he said that he had stopped bidding on government work from 2019 because of the same kind of onerous provisions. Now, if you ask somebody to do a bid, as you say, and you ask them to do a 1-year plan, detailed plan as part of their bid, I mean, that's really unreasonable and irrational, especially as you said, if the information is not held in confidence is commercially sensitive, and there's no guarantee of getting the work or getting paid for preparing a bid. That seems to be kind of over the top. So I wonder if this is not a case where the Auditor General or somebody needs to look at the procurement practice to make sure that it is meets global standards, but also not contrary to our own Constitution, Bill of Rights, because it seems to be very high-handed, and especially if local businesses are not able to comply with this and bid for government projects, what's the purpose of going for bid if you're not giving your local businesses a chance? So I'll leave you there, Kathy, but I just want to add the thoughts going on, and thank you for taking the time to explore this subject a bit more.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mario. And if you're still there, was it Section 19.2 of the Constitution?
Section 19, subsection 2 in the Constitution, Bill of Rights.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's a provision that actually allows for what they call a judicial review. And it talks about if an organization doesn't comply with that section, the organization has the right to seek leave of the courts to take the matter forward to the courts for judicial review. So it is quite serious, and it's put there for a good reason, so that government does not use excess power or bureaucracy to frustrate any civil action or any human rights.
All right. Thank you, Mario. I appreciate you giving us that knowledge and giving your opinion of what's going on, and, gaining a bit of clarity as well as to what was going on with the Institute of Canadian Agencies and DOT. All right, we're going to go to a commercial break right now, and when we come back, I welcome your calls, your thoughts on this issue, and we're going to get more into just generally the procurement process in the Cayman Islands.
Summer's heating up and the water's calling. From cruising the coast in your boat to riding Yamaha Wave Runners, Automotive Art Cayman will get you ready. We offer expert servicing by Yamaha certified staff, as well as engine repairs, performance upgrades, engine and electrical installation, and more. Need it tuned, cleaned, repaired, or race ready? We'll keep you running smooth, whether you're riding waves or racing them. Trust Automotive Art for expert service and upgrades. Find us on Shedden Road and follow us at Auto Art KY on Instagram and Automotive Art Cayman on Facebook.
We were set to battle, and your Aunt Angie was leading the pack when...
Aunt Angie, what does this have to do with car damage?
Oh, right. Well, long story long. I took down the assassins and wound up inventing a new form of mixed martial arts. I became an international champion until one sore loser karate kicked my car. But I was covered with CG.
Covered for malicious damage and more. CG Britgay. Good like that. All benefits are subject to policy provisions, including eligibility at the time of service.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Welcome back to The Buzz. I'm Kathy Miller, and we are in the final few minutes of the show. If you're just joining us, I was talking about the red alert that was issued by the Institute of Canadian Agencies in regards to the request for proposals that the Department of Tourism issued. And the red alert was issued because the ICA, the Institute for Canadian Agencies, claimed that in the RFP, there was too much speculative work being asked for, and although they asked the DOT, allegedly they asked them to change the RFP, the DOT declined, and therefore the red alert was sent. So that's how the discussion got started, and my aim is to go into a deeper discussion with procurement. So I'm hoping that I can have a discussion with business owners out there, people who do bid on government projects, and then to have a discussion with the procurement office to understand in greater detail what their processes are, and hopefully how we can come up with some solutions to make the procurement process a lot better. Because from my understanding, people are very, very up in arms, not happy with how the procurement process works in the Cayman Islands, especially for small businesses. So I just spoke about what the global standards are for RFPs. If it's a global standard to ask for fully detailed plans, it is not a global standard, especially in the creative industry. There are some industry exceptions, which I did mention was construction and engineering, public works or infrastructure, and software development. Those are a few of the industries where you just may have to provide a very detailed plan. However, in those fields, most governments still shortlist vendors first before requesting those detailed plans. Most governments. Now, what is the standard in the creative industries when it comes to RFPs? So the industry standard there, the Institute of Canadian Agencies, as mentioned earlier in the show, they warn against onerous RFPs and speculative work. Then there's the 4As, the American Association of Advertising Agencies. They advise against unpaid creative work during RFPs. And the IPA, which is the UK's Institute of Practitioners in Advertising, they emphasize fairness and outline pitch standards. And the WFA, the World Federation of Advertisers, they promote fair pitch processes and call full spec work before selection damaging. That is the World Federation of Advertisers. So that is the international guidelines when it comes to the creative industries concerning RFPs. So in having a greater understanding of what the global standards are for RFPs and what the creative industry standards for RFPs are, do you think the DOT was right to ask for fully detailed 12-month marketing plans in a pitch for their business? Do you think requiring full proposals for any procurement process before selection is fair? Let me know your thoughts. 1-800-534-8255, 949-8990, 949-6037, and 925-3261. So, we're going to have a bit of a look at how government procurement works. The Cayman Islands government is required to electronically advertise bid opportunities when the expected value of the purchase is $100,000 or greater. Their website, procure.gov.ky, provides pretty detailed information on how the process works, of which I didn't have the time to fully digest before this morning's show, but I can summarize at least for you. So, the Cayman Islands procurement system is built around 3 pillars: full business evaluation before tendering, competitive and open tendering, and protecting local economic interests. For big projects over $250,000, officials must prepare detailed written business cases and conduct local impact assessments and often consult the industry. Public procurement committees oversee tenders, and awards are meant to be transparent with signed local impact pledges from winning suppliers. You know, they're also supposed to, the local impact pledge, they're all supposed to have that statement, I believe, on the procurement website. I did not go and check to see if any of those statements are there, but it's a reminder for me to go and do that, and a reminder to our listeners. Is procurement even following their own kind of set of rules right here? So that's something to look into. But anyways, okay. Yeah, year after year, audits allegedly show systemic failures. Contracts are awarded without business cases or competition, and little enforcement when rules are broken. And you heard me just talk about one of their rules. So are they enforcing their own rules? At the same time, small Caymanian-owned firms struggle. So many RFPs impose high upfront costs just to enter the bids, like detailed plans or designs, which they cannot afford. This pushes out a lot of the smaller players, a lot of the smaller companies, because these bids automatically go to the bigger companies. I'm going to look at construction right now. There's only a few, and by a few, I mean 3, maybe 4 major players in the Cayman Islands that can actually bid on certain government projects. The smaller ones cannot. So their cost difference alone, the margin of cost difference is going to be it's going to be pretty large. It's going to be a huge difference between a smaller company and a larger company when it comes to resources. So it costs a lot more for a smaller company to be able to enter these bids, and then they don't get the contract awarded, or likely won't get the contract awarded, as opposed to the bigger companies. So this is one of the major problems Cayman is facing. So even though the procurement law talks about economic inclusion, in practice, the system often works against local small to medium enterprises. Contracts get steered to bigger players, and local businesses find themselves shut out. In short, the process looks good on paper, but the reviews and complaints paint a very different reality for Cayman's small business. And that's a topic that I want to dig a lot deeper on. So today I was setting the scene for a discussion that I hope to have with business owners who bid on government contracts, and also with the procurement office themselves. So as it stands now, should Cayman's government adjust its procurement rules to protect small local businesses? Oh, and I do have somebody who has sent us a message, and they are... Oh, well, hold on. They're getting to their point. They're saying, morning, is this the buzz? So I think they're coming out with their message still. It's coming. You can give us a call, 925-3261. So, should Cayman's government adjust its procurement rules to protect small local businesses? Now, the Cayman procurement process, I can get into greater detail. I only have about 4 minutes left here, so really, do I have time to get into greater detail? I gave you a bit of a summary of how the process works, but to get into a greater detail of the phases, like there's the planning phase, which is about the planning and presenting the business case, and that happens before the procurement starts. So it talks about the business cases. There's the procurement pathways. So this includes departmental tenders for smaller contracts, and the Central Procurement Committee's involvement for contracts of $250K and higher, and there's a supplier participation. So these are 3 of the steps so far, and then there's the award and transparency. So the award should be publicly posted along with the winning supplier's local impact statement. There we go. There it is, that local impact statement info that I was looking for in my notes. It is supposed to be published. I believe that is on the procure.gov.ky website. So if you were a business that was awarded that government contract, you're supposed to have a local impact statement. If it's for something over $250K, maybe even over $100K, I might have that part wrong, but you're supposed to post a statement. This should be online. And the government staff must follow a code of conduct to prevent corruption, collusion, or political lobbying. There's also oversight, which is the Central Tenders Committee and the Auditor General. They're meant to oversee compliance and continuous training and improvement efforts that are in place for oversight. So these are your 5 steps, per se, into how the Cayman procurement process is supposed to work. I'm not going to get into details. There's so much for me to talk about with this. I'd rather have people who are experienced in bidding for projects. I never have. So one of my plans is to, yes, continue this discussion, but especially with our smaller, medium-sized business owners here in the Cayman Islands that have participated in government bids in the past or currently are doing so. I'd like to get your feedback in how the procurement process is working, what the barriers are, where improvements could be made, and then I would like to have a discussion with the procurement office themselves. So we're going to talk with the business owners first, and then the procurement office. This is what I hope for. So if they're out there listening, this is what I'd like to do, because I'd like to bring greater clarity, better information, and look for solutions moving forward to how we can make this process better for all players involved. So thank you to everybody who has joined me. Oh, the message has not come in as yet, so I'm not going to be able to read it. But thank you for all those who have joined me. And we did get a birthday shout out. Somebody asked me to give a big happy birthday to Patrice Mannings, known as M&M, who works at the YMCA. It's coming from friends and family. So happy birthday to Patrice. Big up yourself on your birthday. All right, everybody, have a great Thursday. Whew, have a great Tuesday. I didn't want July to end that quick. Only a few days left in July, so have a great Tuesday. Hope the day is great. I know it will be for me. And go forward with a great day, kindness in your heart, and remember, stay safe on our roads.
The Buzz is proudly sponsored by Cayman Insurance Center, specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services. And Kirk Market. Experience